Welcome to a special episode of Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell. And I'm really excited today because I get to have this lovely conversation with Diana Devi. And I'm excited to hear about some of the things she does for those people who are coming into the midlife and they're looking at some transition periods and ways that they're going to be learning new skills to help them into their next part of life. So, Diana, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you give us a little bit of background about the work that you do?
So I work with midlife women, and I generally work with women that are either menopausal or postmenopausal. And they are to the point that they want to feel good. They want to have energy to do the things that they want, be it run a business, play with their grandkids, climb Mount Everest. Doesn't matter what it is, but they want to feel good. They want to have the mental clarity, and they want to look good while they do it as well.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Okay, and what is your business called?
My business is called An Ageless Life, and I am a clinical pharmacist and Argentine Tango dancer and instructor as well. So I kind of blend all of those things together. Because it just makes, when you're dancing and moving, it just makes life more fun.
It does. And it's interesting that you have the ability to dive into the arts component of life, but then you still get to play in science. So
Yeah,
that's a lovely tango that you get to do between those worlds.
absolutely. I really found that when I was doing just one aspect, that people disconnect the brain from the body a lot. And when that disconnection happens, people find that they don't understand what it is that their body needs or that it wants, and they have more pain, they have more disease or dis-ease, and really being able to connect those back together, and it just makes life so much richer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love how you put that because people don't realize when they're thinking pharmacy wise that they would need to have those other aspects. It's always like, I just want to come in for my prescription, let me go home and carry on doing what I'm doing. It's not working, but I want to go home and carry on what I'm doing anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And I that was one of the things that was really I found really frustrating in pharmacy, is that there was no desire to change behavior at all. And I think things are beginning to shift a little bit, because now people are to the point that they're realizing there is no magic pill. And if I want to feel better, I need to invest in doing something to get there. That's not all people, but there are many of us that are of that, have made that decision that I have more to do with how I feel and look and what I can do than something that I get and swallow or inject.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, before we dive further into the discussion, I always like to ask people what they've put into their cup for the day. What have you got there?
I have oolong tea, which is one of my favorites. At this time of day, it's probably maybe only 25% oolong tea and the rest is water, but that's what I have.
And from the perspective of the frequency that's in that water, you continue, even though it's watered down through the day, you've continued to keep that frequency flowing with it. And oolong is such a powerful tea.
I love it. I drink it every day.
So I went to a holiday blend called Just Chillin'. And this is a blend, it's kind of sits on the shelf when people are looking at the table, and it has such like they look at it and go, just chillin'. That sounds interesting, and it has cranberry in it, but it has this real softness to it, kind of like the oolong tea actually. And what I love about this tea is it has cranberry and blackberry leaf. And so I want to share a little bit about the intention that's on this one. This one is when you're chilling with family and friends, you get to create nuggets of memories. And I think sometimes we forget about that, especially in the holidays, of the busyness of prepping the meal, doing the shopping, wrapping presents, making sure you remember to do all the things you're supposed to do, and then stopping and, oh yeah, we're here because we want to have time with family and friends and we want to make memories. So this is a great way to stop and just breathe. And I'm going to bring out the idea of the cranberry because it invites emotional brightness and joy. And even when you look at cranberries, particularly for me, when they go on the table next to the turkey, the brightness of the cranberries is always something that makes me smile because it's just got such a personality that sits down at the table. And if we take the blackberry leaf, this helps strengthen relationships and reminds us of the beauty of being truly seen. And so as we're thinking about going into the holidays and those important moments that we have when we're sitting and having a cup of tea, or we've invited guests, or we're even just passing by people and we haven't seen them for a while, but we only have a few moments, to take those moments to really make them treasured moments. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for coming to join me on the podcast. And I'm just going to
And we both have red cup.
Just chilling. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So what I would like to know, Diana, with the tools that you have, particularly as you're a dancer as well, what is something that you enjoy doing, especially around the holidays when things get so busy, that just helps you to really stop and be recentered?
I like to put on a song and just dance. And it's gotten to the point where I'll do that when I'm at my sister's or other places, and other people start to join in with me to dance as well. So it's kind of like you have this group dance thing, and then everybody goes and does whatever they want as far as that goes. But it's been really fun to do, and it is something that really makes it so that it's a stress release. It resets everything. And it's suddenly the room is brighter. I feel better. I'm breathing better. More optimism. Just, it's a feel good reset.
You're just reminding me, a couple Christmases ago, I decided to go frivolous because people would say, what do you want for Christmas? And it's always, I need just simple little things. But I was like, no, I want a cape that's full of lights and that I can just go and twirl, just as if I was back being 5 again. And my husband was like, for real? And I said, yep, for real. That's what I want. I've seen them and that's what I want. And when that arrived and I could turn the lights on and put that cape on, and then doing exactly what you said, I had a couple pieces that were my favorite at the time. And at this point, I was out on the grass and I'd be dancing in the dark and just letting those lights just show me another way that I was expressing myself. Anyway, you reminded me of that. And it was like, oh, it was so freeing to be able to do that. So thank you for that. And can you share with me a little bit about, because I'm interested with the people that join you, what do you notice about the conversation after you've done that and they decided to participate?
But it really shifts things from being frenetic and I need to do this or whatever. It's more communal. So it's like, oh, well, what are we going to do for breakfast? And how it just changes the dynamic associated with it. So it might be that we sit down and have a cup of tea and a cup of coffee and we plan out the day that we're going to do. It changes the relationship between the people that are there and really lets them play. I mean, when you start your day out in play, that's a pretty good way to begin anything, right? And because it's your body is moving, you're listening to the music, you're not thinking about all the other stuff that has to be done. You're just there in the moment and enjoying it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And as people are thinking about the different music that they enjoy during the holidays and finding that favorite tune, sometimes that can take you to some different places in your memories as well to be able to bring those pieces forward. just
Yeah,
like you just did for me with bright lights. But that also changes also what you think about doing because you remember how much fun you had with those things. And that reminds you to play a little bit more and not be quite so serious. Yeah.
exactly. For us, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, when they put that song on, and it's just because it's just, how can you be stressed out when you're listening to Alvin and the Chipmunks? I mean, it's just really not possible. So, and picking the music, the wide variation, there is no boundary as far as that goes. You pick what you're going to feel good and what sings to you.
Hmm. And what I've noticed when I'm bagging tea is the music that I choose to play, because all the tea is infused with music. The music that I choose changes the way the bagging goes, which I find fascinating from a movement perspective, because
Yes.
sometimes we can be exhausted at the end of a couple of hours of bagging tea or on your feet. And other times it can be completely energizing. And it's just like you could just keep going forever. That's when we knew we chose the right piece of music. And so as people are thinking about their activities at Christmas time to reflect on that, what is the music you're bringing back into your day? What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, when I cook, right? I have certain music that I like to cook. If I'm cooking breakfast food, for some reason, I like playing Bach in the morning or, having that structured kind of music versus something at other parts of the day. But really thinking about how the music influences your mood and your feeling and that whole sensation associated with it. I used to have a friend who said she worked in a bakery. She wasn't a very good baker, but she would sing and be happy and joyful when she was making the bread. And whatever she was making always sold out every single time.
Yeah,
And it's the energy with it.
yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? Just
It is.
where we place our focus and then what the outcome can be with it. Yeah, beautiful. All right, you had talked about another tool that you have that you also like to bring into your day.
So I have one that is simple to do. It doesn't take very much time at all. So you sit down and or you can do this standing. You want to make sure your legs are not crossed, and you're going to sit looking straight ahead. And you turn your head as far as you can over your right shoulder, and you're not forcing it or pushing it. So just take it over to the right shoulder and just notice how far that is. And then you bring your head back toward the center and then you turn it over to the left side. And again, this is an exploration. We're not forcing anything. There should be no pain, no discomfort, and bring it back to the center. Now we're going to do the same thing just with our eyes. So, with my head facing forward, I'm shifting my eyes over as far as I can to the right. And I'm going to stay there until I feel my body kind of go, ah, doesn't have to be a loud sigh, but just that internal. And I bring my eyes back to the front. And now I'm going to turn my eyes all the way over to the left as far as I can go. And again, I just stay here until I feel that kind of sigh. You might yawn, and then you bring it back to the forward. Take a breath in and release. And now turn your head again and turn it to the right. And notice how different that feels, how much more flexibility you have. And again, we're not forcing things. We're just exploration mode. Turn it over again to the left. Come back through the center. And now just check in with your body and see how it feels. Even for me doing this, and I do this exercise a lot, I notice that my neck is feels longer, my shoulders are resting more on my body, my breath is different, and I feel more calm. Simple exercise. You can do it anywhere. Believe me, nobody is watching you turn your head or when you breathe or anything else. And it works every single time.
I love that exercise. I've used it quite a bit as well. And I don't always do it the way that you did it. So it was lovely to be able to follow your instruction because I'm usually leading, and
Yes.
to feel what the experience was for me. So I just was thinking of two things that I use also as checks with that. And one is to pull up on the ears and see if the posture is straight after doing that. We could have done it from the beginning and probably people would have had to have
Oh, yep.
lifted up. But what I noticed for myself, because I've been sitting at the computer for quite a bit today, I actually didn't have to adjust my posture at all. It was straight. So I love that because I could feel it. And the second part was when I turned my head the first time, and it's not with any strain, my core body wasn't involved. It was an isolated movement. But after we did the eye reset, then my core got involved. And yes, I could see further, but I also noticed my belly took me there first. And so the integration was there of the rest of my body. And that's the first time, because I wasn't leading it, I got the opportunity to feel what that was like. So thank you
Great.
for that. Yeah. Yeah. So that was really interesting. And then to know all you have to do is move your eyes to the corner and back, and you can reintegrate so much patterning. I know they talk about for the vagus nerve reset, that's very powerful. But what does that mean? And so that was a living example for me of how much more I could integrate with. So thank you for that.
It's one of my favorite exercises. And I like the bit about the ears. I'm going to have to start adding that one in and playing with that one. That's good.
Hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting one because most often, you think you're straight, but the last little piece is when the sternum just does that tiny little lift,
Yep.
and then you get a deeper breath. And so many people don't realize they just still have that
The rounded shoulder.
hunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the holidays, when we spend a lot of time curled up on the couch underneath blankets, you're hugging, cuddling with different people. It's a place where you'll hit those postures, and that's where those resets will be really important because you are relaxed. But wow, how great to be able to integrate all the systems.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think too, with stress and those kinds of things, people have a tendency to round the shoulders and bring more of that type of motion in. So being able to have that reset. And the thing that I like about those things that do that is you're signaling to the world whether you realize it or not. And especially with aging, if you round the shoulders and the head comes forward and the body is curved, you're basically saying, I want to be left alone. I want to be invisible. Stay away. Whereas if your shoulders are in the proper position, your sternum is where your head is up and looking around, you're inviting the world to interact with you. Much different place. Much
Mhm.
different place.
Thank you for saying that because I don't think people realize, particularly if they've spent a long time in the car with their head forward or at the
Yes.
computer, and they get up and it feels normal to them. They're not realizing they've set themselves up with hours practicing, I don't want to talk to you. And that and
And they
that
wonder why
wasn't their
nobody wants to
intention.
talk to them.
But it really makes you sit back and think, how do you become invisible in a room when you've got a whole room full of family and you become invisible to them? Is it because they didn't want to talk to you, or is it because that was the signal that you were giving out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. It goes into being aware of what you're saying non-verbally. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And rather than being frustrated, understanding that it is something within your control, you can do something about it. And it's not that hard.
Yeah. That's what I love about all these tools is they are just so simple, one-offs, few minutes, and off you go. and you just keep interspersing them through the day. And it's a very different day. It's a lovely day.
One of the things I like to recommend is people to take their phone and put in messages or a timer or put it into their calendar. So they have a certain frequency of doing it until they actually get to the point where they've set it as a habit. Because so many people are looking at their phone or their messages on their computer or whatever it is, to be able to start to use that for something that is actually beneficial for your body. And you don't have to remember to do it initially. Eventually, as it becomes a habit, then you start to notice, oh, I don't feel right. Why don't I feel good? Or I feel tired. Oh, that's why. But in the beginning, establishing those habits, it doesn't take very, you can put it in every day, takes 2 seconds, maybe a minute to set those timers in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Diana, for bringing all these ideas forward. I look forward to when we get to have a conversation just about dance and the kind of dance you do, because, yeah, I know kindred spirits. Here we are.
Yes.
Do you want to just repeat how people can find you so that if they want to look for more information about the work you do?
Absolutely. So I'm on all the usual social medias. It's an ageless life. And then you can find me on LinkedIn, Diana Devi at an ageless life. I have a YouTube channel. Again, Diana Devi at an ageless life. You can email me and I'll give you all of the links for everything that as well. But I also have a podcast, Midlife Reset, and that is with an ageless life and Diana Devi. So there's happened to be quite a few that have perked up lately that say Midlife Reset. So the one that's associated with Diana Devi and an ageless life is me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I hope people will go and find your podcast and learn some of those tips and tools, because I know you probably sprinkle them all the way through. And
Yep.
it's a great way for people to realize the next phase of life can be very different, and we have choices we can make. Thank you so much for sharing the day.
This was fun. Bye for now.
Be well, everyone, and all the best through the holidays.